welcome back to another video. So today I have Kirby Rosanes' Worlds Within Worlds. This is one of my favorite coloring books. I love the images in here, and all of the images in this book are just so creative. They're pretty much all a world within another world, and so I just think this book is really, really cool. I've been coloring a page in this book, and I've been coloring it for quite a while. I went back and picked it up again and really want to finish it, but I thought this would make a really great video because the page that I'm coloring, I'm not using a whole lot of pencils. So I wanted to make this video for y'all and show you that you don't need to use that many pencils or even that many colors on your coloring pages to bring them to life and make them look absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to go through the page and I'm going to explain to you how I went about doing that. And then I'm going to add in a leaf tutorial. The leaves I'm coloring on the page are bright and beautiful and vibrant, and they just really pop, and I'm using colors I wouldn't normally use together. We are going to work on continuing to bring the page to life. If you check the description box down below, you will find links down there for my Facebook group, my email list, my Etsy shop, and my Patreon if you would like to support me there. I also now have channel membership. If you would like to find more information out about that, you can click the join button down below the video. So this is the page that I've been coloring, and I absolutely love the colors that I chose for this page. I'm working on creating balance throughout the whole page, but I'm still adding those bright, vibrant colors like you could see here in all of the leaves. All of the colors are bright and vibrant, and they all just really stand out from one another. Now, when I started this page, I had no idea where I wanted to go with it. All I knew is that I wanted this apple here to be red, but I also knew that I wanted to add those bright, vibrant pops of color. So you can see here that I've got really bright oranges and yellows, and I feel like those pops of color with the much darker colors really all add all of that depth and dimension. So when I originally started coloring the leaves, I was just going to color just plain green leaves. You can see that I still added those pops of color. I've got some yellow and some chartreuse. I decided after I had colored the leaves green, why don't I bring the colors from this apple into the leaves so that I could create a little bit of balance. But I wanted to continue with the leaves in this video and show you how you would bring those colors together, where I mixed the yellows and the oranges with the greens, because I think that these leaves turned out so cool looking. I like to call them my fiery red leaves with a little bit of green. But I absolutely love them. I've got some bright greens in there, and then I've got the bright pops of color with the yellows and the oranges. The coolest thing about this page is that I didn't use a whole lot of colors. So I'm going to show you the colors that I'm using to be able to do this. I've got all the colors here that I used in this part of the apple, and I really feel like the Spanish orange is what is giving it that extra pop. So I've got the Spanish orange, that is 1003. Then I've got the orange, which is 918. Then I have permanent red, which is PC 122. And then to add all of these really dark shadows and to create all that extra added depth and dimension, I used Crimson Lake, which is 925. And then I even came in with my dark brown, which is PC 946. And I used a lot of that all down here just so I could create an extra bit of a shadow and try to cover a lot of that line art. I used it here in the corners of the apple as well, and then I used a lot of it up here. When you're using reds, browns work really well to go right over them and make them look much darker. And you don't need to use a whole lot of pressure with your pencil. You just hold your pencil at the side and you go like this very lightly, and it will add that color in there and create that extra depth and dimension. When somebody looks at your page and you want it to look red, that's what they're going to see. You would never even know that I added brown in there unless I told you that I added brown in there, because my apple looks red. So that's just a little added extra trick that you can use for those of you that are beginners and don't realize that you could bring in other colors from other color families to darken up certain colors. So the trick when you're trying to use just minimal colors and you want everything to come together and look really beautiful is to make sure when you're laying down your colors, don't put any of the same same colors right next to each other. So for instance, if you look at these leaves up here, you can see that I added a lot of my shades of red to really darken it up, because again, these were the leaves that I did first, and I actually decided to use the red after the fact. And so I came back in and added the red right over the top of that green, and so it made it look really, really dark. So I made sure that I used different colors and didn't put any of the same colors right next to one another. So even in this really small area right here where I have this leaf draping over the top of this other one, I added a whole lot of my reds right here on the edge of this leaf, made this leaf mostly green. And then right here where this leaf is laying right over this one, I made sure that I added green in there so that they didn't look like they were running into one another. And then if you look at these leaves over here, I did the same thing. So this leaf has a little bit of red right here, and I darkened it up right here because the inside of the leaf right there, I would assume, would be much darker since there's a lot less light hitting in that area. But then when I came down here on this leaf, I wanted to make sure that I made it look like it was sitting behind this one. And so I used my red, but I wanted to make sure that this part of this leaf was green so that that creates the separation between this one and this one. And then over here on this part of the leaf, I've got a lot of red, and then I made sure that wherever this one was touching, this one that's laying over this one, I made sure that I added a whole lot of green in there, where I used a lot of browns and some yellows to color in the branches. That is a whole separate color altogether. And then I came in where I did some of the leaves, and I sort of blended some of those colors into where I added the greens. You can see that I've got some brown along with green on the stem of this leaf here, and I'm just trying to mix the colors up, use minimal pencils and minimal color families, keeping the separation between every object that is laying on the coloring page, even where you see a leaf laying over another leaf. But I want to show you how I colored these leaves and how I made the colors come together so that they still look really nice. I love the reds with the oranges and the yellows and the greens, and oh my gosh, I just absolutely love them. I can't wait to see this page finished. I think we're going to work on these leaves over here because I know for sure that I want these to be the shades of reds and yellows and greens and oranges and all of that. Now, since I didn't have the exact color combos for the leaves, I did sit here and just try to match up the colors and did the best I could, but I really like what I came up with. It looks like I didn't use orange in any of these, but I used orange in these here. So that is what we're going to do. I'm going to continue what I've done over here, and we're going to bring that over here so that we've got an even balance on the page. Okay, so these leaves do have a lot of colors in them, but for every single leaf, I'm not sure that I'm using every single one of these colors. Like in some of them I've used the chartreuse, and in others I've used the lemon yellow. And then I'm using the sienna brown just to add a little bit of darkness in areas I want to make super, super dark, just to create the extra depth. So I'm just sort of changing up my colors, but these are the colors that are going to be used throughout the whole entire page. So you could see I'm still using minimal pencils. If I bring in the colors I'm using from the other parts of the page, I only have 3 other colors laying over here. And this one here is the Spanish orange that I only used in this apple here. And I'm not using that in my leaves. I don't know if I'm going to use it yet in the other apples. We'll see what happens when I get there. But when I colored the core of the apple, the colors that I used were this yellow ochre. And I used the yellow ochre with the sienna brown because the sienna brown I was using in other parts of the page. And also the dark brown. So that is only 3 colors in there, but these are all of the colors that make up what I've done on the entire page. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I only have 12 colors, and I'm getting the whole page colored with 12 colors. Now, these are all from the 150 set of Prismacolors. Now, I've got 150 pencils to choose from, y'all, so you can see that I am bringing this page to life, and I'm using very minimal pencils. Okay, so the first thing I do when I go to color one of the leaves on this page is I look at the other leaves on the page so that I could see where I added the reds, because if there is a leaf that is pretty close to another one, like for instance, I'm coloring this one, so I'm looking at this one here. So I want to look where I laid the red and where I laid the greens. So I want this one to look very different than what I did up here. And it's already going to look different because I don't think that I used orange in these, and I decided to bring in the orange when I was matching up my colors. This one is going to be much more bright and vibrant from that orange than this one was because this one has a lot more reds in it. So the colors I have are lemon yellow, Prussian green, chartreuse, apple green, sienna brown, dark green, crimson lake, orange, and permanent red. If you've watched my videos before, you know that I like to hold all of my colors in my hand and then I just pull them as I go through and I color. So I think for this one that I want some bright pops of yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and use my lemon yellow. And I'm just going to add some yellow right in here. Now, if you've watched my videos before, you know that I always like to start with my lightest color. Now, I think for this one, I might want to go ahead and use the chartreuse along with the lemon yellow, and I'm not sure that I've done that with any of the other ones, but I'm just going to blend a little bit of this right into that other color. And you can see that in this case, I'm not paying much attention really to any of the lines. If you've watched my videos before, you know that I do generally come back over the veins or the lines in the leaves, and I will use them to add a little bit of extra depth and dimension by going over them a little bit with a darker color, and I'll show you that at the end. But for this one, it has this vein going right down the center. So I think that I want an extra pop of color right in there. And I'm probably going to come back with these darker greens and go over some of these other areas just to keep that separate vein going down the center. But let me go ahead and get the greens laid where I want them. And you're going to see that I am just going to lay some of my greens right over some of the other colors that I've already laid down. Like for instance, right here, I have the Prussian green, and I'm just going to come in right here just because I want to add a little bit of a separation right here where I have that vein going right down the center. And I'm going very lightly just because I want to blend some of this Prussian green right into the chartreuse. And I'm going to go all the way up towards the tip just to darken that area up quite a bit. And I'm going to go down onto the other side. And then I'm going to use my apple green, and I'm going to use this to blend this into the chartreuse. Now this is a bit of a brighter color. It's going to help this color transition into the lighter color. And I'm just going in a circular motion and blending these colors together. And right now I'm just trying to get an idea of where I want my colors, because when I'm using colors that are so different from one another, I want to make sure that I'm getting my colors laid down exactly the way that I want them. So I think I want some red down over here on this side of this leaf. So I think I'm going to start with my orange because the orange will very nicely blend into the yellow. And so I'm going to hold my pencil at the side, and I'm going very, very lightly. And I am touching the green quite a bit, but I'm going to try to pull this upward into where I have the yellow. And I think it'll look really nice if I've got some of the orange blended in up the side where I have that yellow. So let me go ahead and grab the yellow and lay this color back down, since I really wanted that pop of color there, and it's going to help to blend that orange right into it and pull the colors into the green as well. This is my lemon yellow, and I think I'm going to blend a little bit of this yellow down a little bit further on this side. Now I'm going to go to my permanent red, and I'm going to come in here and start blending some of this color right into the orange. And I'm not going to come into that center vein there, at least not yet, because I think I really want a lot of yellow there. Now y'all know that I changed my mind quite a lot, so we're going to see where this goes. So now let me come back with my orange and add another layer of that and blend this color right into the other ones. And you can see I'm just coming back and forth with my colors. And if I lay a darker color down, I'm using the other color to blend it out so that there is a much smoother transition. So I went over that with the orange and blended those colors together. And so now I need to come back with my yellow and pull those colors together even more. And now I'm using a little bit harder pressure, and I am coming up all the way to the top of this leaf. Now I don't want to lay down too much because I do need to come back with some of my darker colors to really give it a lot of added depth and dimension. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do over here. Maybe I want a little bit of red right in this area here just to make it look a little bit different than the others. But it does take me a little while to figure out how I want it to look and where I want to lay the reds and the greens, because I'm using quite a few colors. But the key here is that all of these colors are being used throughout the whole entire page. So let me go ahead and grab my Crimson Lake, and this is the color that's really going to darken it up, and I'm going to lay this right over the permanent red, and you're going to see a huge difference now. But a lot of this is a blend of a lot of these colors. Now I'm going to go over this vein and create that line there just for a little bit of added depth. And I am going to go up the side of this leaf just to add a little bit of depth and dimension, and maybe pull this color down into here just a little bit. And like I showed you before, I'm going to have to come back now with the color that is just lighter than that one, which in this case would be the permanent red. And I'm going to pull that down just a little bit more so that these colors can have a really nice transition. And then I've got to use the orange to come up here and blend these colors together again so that these colors blend in nicely to where I still have the yellow. And then I'm going to come back with the yellow and blend those colors out one more time. I think I'm going to start with my permanent red. I just want to add a pop of red right here into this part of the leaf. And I'm probably going to darken it up a bit, so I'm pulling this color down a little bit further. And I think I want a pop of red right in here. I want to make this one look really different from the other ones. So I need to go over that. So I've got my darkest red, which is the Crimson Lake. And now I'm going to pay more attention to the veins of the leaves and use them to create quite a bit of extra added depth and dimension. I think I'm going to pull this color up just a little bit more. I'm going rather lightly as I pull this into where I had laid some green. But now I want to go over these colors and add a pop of orange. And I think maybe I want some yellow in here, which I don't think I've done on the other leaves. Okay, so now I have my dark green. This color is the color that is going to make all the difference in the world, because once you start adding in the color that you're using for your shadows, it makes all those much lighter colors pop all that much more. I want to make sure I get in here with my darkest green, because again, I want to really have that center vein going down the middle. Now I want to add quite a bit of green down here at the bottom of the leaf. I think I'm going to need some lighter colors here to be able to blend this into those reds and oranges and yellows. So let me go ahead and grab my apple green and blend it right into those other greens. This one's a little bit brighter, and then maybe a little bit of chartreuse. This is my permanent red, and I'm just sort of filling in some of the white space here and pulling this color into the other colors. And now I have Crimson Lake, and this is my darkest of my reds, and I really want to darken this edge up. And I am coming up here a little bit over that green, and I'm going to come down here and go a little bit over that green, because if you see some of these other leaves that are that shade, that is the green blended into the red. Now I have my sienna brown, and I'm going to come in here and lay some of this right over this edge, because this is going to really darken this up. And now we need to start coming back with some of these other greens. I do need to also finish this area over here, but let me come back down the center here. I've got my chartreuse, and then I want to add a little bit of my yellow, and I'm going to add a pop of yellow in here and all in here, and I'm just sort of blending some of these colors together. And the paper in this book, it is really, really good, and it will take all of these layers. You can come back and just keep laying these colors down and laying the colors down, and it will take it. The paper is super, super good, especially with Prismacolors. I love my Prismacolors in this book. So now I have my Prussian green, and I'm just blending some of these colors in with each other. And I think I need my darkest green, but let me add a little bit of this in here, and I'm going to come up this way right along that center vein. And now I have my darkest green, and I'm going to do the same thing I just did. I'm going to go right up this center vein. So now I'm going to come in with this color, and I'm going to add quite a bit more of it. Again, this is the dark green, and I feel like this leaf looks way different than some of the others, but that's okay. That's what I wanted to do on this page. I wanted all the leaves to look very different from one another, but still using just minimal pencils throughout the whole entire page, still be able to create all that depth and dimension. I have a feeling I'm really going to love this one in the end, and then I'm going to have higher expectations for all of the rest of the leaves on the page. But there's just so many leaves on this page to be able to experiment with and do them all just a little bit differently. So I think I need a lighter color now. I'm going to grab my chartreuse. And some of these colors don't have a super smooth transition, so I'm just coming in here and pulling the colors together. But look how pretty that is once I come back with this color and blend some of these colors out. So now I have my yellow, and I'm going to use this to blend these greens right into these oranges and reds. And it's still going to add that pop of yellow in there. I need to come back over here with my yellow. Now this one has a lot more yellow in it than any of the other leaves, and I really wanted to change it up as I went down the page and got closer to the leaves at the bottom of the page. I'm not really sure what I want to do with those yet. Okay, so now I need to come back over here on this side, and I need to work on this side a little bit more by adding more layers to make it look much more like this side. Right here we've got the greens blended into the reds, and it looks really, really good. I like the difference in the color. It brings the color from the leaves up here down into this leaf. And again, that helps to create a little bit of balance, but I want to see a little bit more of that over here on this side. I'm going to take my dark green and I'm just going to go over this color here. And then I want to go over some of the veins all through here just to darken them up a little bit. And I think I want just a little bit more dark green right here on the edges. And then maybe the red and the green just right here at the tip. This is my Crimson Lake, and I'm just going over this and really darkening this area up, and then maybe a little bit right here. Oh my gosh, y'all, I'm gonna like this one so much better. That always happens when I bring out something I've been working on and then I film myself doing it. I end up doing something a little bit differently as I talk my way through it, and it turns out so much better. But that's okay, because now I can go a little bit slower on the rest of the leaves on the page and make all of those look very different too. And I think in the end, this is going to look really, really good. But right now I have the sienna brown, and I'm just darkening some of these up and making that red look super dark. And then I just want to add a little bit right up in here and bring it down just a tad. Now I have the orange, and I want to really brighten this up right here and pull it into that yellow. And then I want to blend all this out and bring the colors together. Let me use my yellow just to spread these colors out here, and then right here where I really wanted that pop of yellow. Yellow is really good for blending together reds and oranges and greens. So it's going to work really well to just bring all of these colors together. Oh my gosh, y'all, I absolutely love that leaf. It is so super pretty, and I think I like it more than any other leaf on the page. I don't know. Y'all have to let me know. Because I had to match up the colors and I had let it set for so long, now I'm loving these other leaves I did now better than the ones that I had originally did. But I think that will create a little bit of a difference or a variance on the page, where these have much darker reds in them and then these are much brighter, because there is no yellow in those. But I think that it is going to come together in the end and look really, really nice. I am going to continue coloring this page using just 12 colors. You can see that I had like 9 colors in my hand. Even though I have a whole lot of colors in that leaf, I'm using those colors for the whole entire page. But I absolutely love my fiery red and green leaves. I think they look so super cool, and I think they just pop so much. But I'm going to continue on this page, and when I color these, I'm going to color them differently than I colored this one and lay the colors just in different places. And like I showed you in the beginning of the video, I'm going to make sure that I don't have any of the same colors touching. So like if I lay green somewhere, then on the other leaf that is overlapping or next to it, I will use my reds or my oranges. And I'm just going to continue that on the whole entire page. When it's done, I will share it with y'all and show you what I came up with. I can't wait to get to the background, but I'm going to continue to just use those 2 color families or even 3 color families on this page, because of course I've got the browns and such that I had to bring in, but I'm even using the browns on the leaves too. So I'm using all of the colors throughout the whole entire page. I've only got 12 pencils out of 150, and y'all can see that you can bring your coloring pages to life, create something absolutely beautiful, and use just a few pencils. So I hope this video was helpful. Everything you see me use in this video I will have linked in the description box below. I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Happy coloring. Bye.